Good morning. Am I audible to all of you? Okay, thank you. So I'm sharing my screen. So my screen is visible. Yeah, I will come back. Okay, okay. Last class we discussed about CBC, cipher blockchain mechanism. So, how many of you understand this one? May I know? Most of you understand, I'm thinking. Right. So this blockchain we discussed. What the drawbacks in ECB, electronic code book. 1 minute. Right. So this is the extra connections which we made compared to ECB, electronic code book. Keep it in the mind. Keep it in the mind, right? So the difference between the encryption or decryption and the problems. Here you understand C1 is equal to IV XOR with M1. CI is equal to EK of MI. Decryption function is going to be, we'll write like this. For each and every message block, that means the first message block is going to M1 is equal to DK of C1 XOR IV, the decryption in the reverse manner. And MI is going to be equal to DK of CI. MI is equal to DK of CI. Right. The encryption decryption is typically a large message. Two same message blocks encrypt to the same cipher blocks. Two cipher blocks can be switched. One block can copy it to another. Or no built-in integrity or authentication ECB. The possible fix, we have many keys, one for each block. Recurring phases are there, and so on. So here, first of all, we need to be discuss about the decryption. I would like to share my whiteboard to all of you. Please join in my whiteboard. Just 82 are there. Okay, 82 might be received this. So you may join in this. CBC encryption we discussed in the last class, and how to write an equation for CBC encryption. You know, all of you. We have message blocks. The first message block C1 I am writing is equal to, so we are encrypting this one. The encryption in the subscript K is there. This is a common key for all the encryptions of M1. Here we need to be use XOR operation followed by IV. So this is the general equation we are using, right? Suppose we may write in the form, we may write this one in the form. Here my C1 is equal to encryption of K of my M1 XOR here we need to be use XOR function, and here IV is there. This is a compulsory statement for us. This is a compulsory statement. After that, we need to be define CI value. After that, we define CI value. CI value is equal to encryption of K. Here, what will come? Your MI will come. XOR this with the previous cipher value. See previous cipher value means CI minus 1. CI minus 1. That's why the name itself indicates cipher block chaining. Cipher block chaining. The name itself indicates to you there is a chaining concept involved in this. And cipher block chain. The cipher, whatever the previous cipher value is going to be used in this encryption. And at the same time, we should go for decryption. We'll go for decryption. In the decryption, what we will do, simply we need to be get back our message block back. That's why you need to be very clearly observe here in this encryption function. You come from this side. You are going from this side, and while you are decrypting, you will move from this side in the reverse way. That's why you need to be first decrypt the cipher value. First, you need to be decrypt the cipher value. Right. If suppose I may decrypt the cipher value, my message block is going to be, so I want to retrieve my message block. So that what I will do first, I will perform the decryption function. First I'm going to perform decryption function. This is my decryption function with key K. And what is the input I want to provide? C1 I want to provide here. So first I want to get back my M1, message block 1. That's why first I need to perform this one. If I may perform this one, what I will get back? I will get back my M1, comma, that means XOR IV value I will get back. If suppose I may receive M1 XOR IV, what supposed to be I need to be do to get back my M1? Again I need to be XOR this with IV. XOR with this IV. So that this XOR, this IV both are going to be XORed. So that what will be the resultant value here? M1 is the resultant value. M1 is the resultant value. The same thing happened to the subsequent decryptions. This is for M1. This is for M1. You keep it in mind. So I'm get back my M1 with help of my decryption function. So I want to get back my MI. How I will perform? What I will perform? So again here CI you observe. Here CI you observe. So first of all I need to be decrypt the CI. So I need to be write here my decryption function CI. Decryption function CI. Right? This is going to be equal to what I will get back. Okay, this one I will get back. My MI, this is my MI, XOR CI minus 1. CI minus 1. So this is after my decryption value. So that what I need to be performed over here, I need to be perform again XOR operator. I need to be add here and IV. So that my resultant value is going to be, these two are going to be sorry, not IV. This is sorry. This is Ci minus 1. This is Ci minus 1. So that this is Ci minus 1. Ci minus this Ci minus 1, this Ci minus 1, both are going to be, whenever you perform XOR operation, is going to be 0. So 0 XOR M1, you will get Mi, you will get Mi. This is going to be, you will get Mi. So that's why, so while you are represented in the diagrammatical form, simply first you need to be choose your, okay, these are your cipher blocks. This is my C1, this is my C2, this is my C2, and this is my C3, and so on. Cn minus 1, Cn minus 1, and the last one is going to be Cn. Cn. Now, what we need to be perform according to this equation, you need to be observed here. Okay, first we need to be perform decryption operations on the C1. That's why here what I'm doing, first I need to be perform here decryption operation here. This is my decryption operation. What is the input key? Input key is going to be K, the same key which we used for the encryption, the same key we need to be used over here. Then what we need to be perform here? Here M1 XOR IV. So the output of this one, okay, the decryption output is going to be M1 XOR IV. That it means here the output is going to be M1 XOR IV. So that what we need to be perform over here? Here again we need to be perform XOR, and what is required here as input? This is going to be IV. This is going to be IV. So finally what you will get back? You will get back your M1. The same way happened to everywhere. The same thing happened to everywhere. So every decryption function output you need to be XOR with, okay. The next onwards, C2, C3, C4, and so on up to Cn. What you need to do? The previous C1 value we are going to be used as an input to one this XOR function. Another input is going to be you perform the decryption operation on the cipher block. This is your decryption operation, and this is a key K, and this is going to be another input. These two inputs. So here output is going to be what? This output is going to be C2 we are decrypting. Whenever you are going to be C2 you decrypt, what is the output? This is going to be M2 XOR C1. And here what, okay, XOR we are providing? We are providing XOR. This is this blue color, okay, you may observe this is going to be XOR C1 again. So these two are going to be cancelled. It says that the cancel means these two are going to be resultant value is going to be 0. 0 XOR M2, you will get back your M2 here. This is the way we are going to be perform this CBC operation. Same way you need to be perform for all other. Right? Are you clear? Any doubts are there? Please, okay, let me know. So now, last class we discussed some drawbacks in this. What are the drawbacks are there in this? The first drawback, which one? Okay, where is the first major drawback? Here only the IV, the insecurity of IV is the major drawback in this. So IV selection is more important, and IV values are going to be random. IV values is not equal to M1. This kind of, okay, that means, okay, make more secure. So we need to be cleverly, we need to be choose our IV value. And the total, okay, CBC security depends on IV security only. If IV revealed, the CBC is going to be not perform well actually. So that's why they moved towards to another mechanism that we call it as a cipher feedback mode. Cipher feedback mode. So my slides are visible to all of you now. One of you may say. Right, thank you. This is Cypher's feedback mode. Why? Because IV has its own problem. The size, the length of the IV is equal to your cipher block length. So that creating the major problem to us. So to that means okay to make more secure our mode of operation, what they did, complete IV they chosen. So IV contains B bits. B bits means that is going to be equal to your encryption mechanism, whatever encryption method, whatever symmetric key methods you have. That symmetric key methods, suppose symmetric key methods means symmetric key encryption methods means what? Your DES, AES, XYZ. AES how many bits? 128 bits. DES how many bits? 64 bits. So your IV is equal to B bits means suppose you are using your encryption function as a DES, B is equal to 64 bits. It means IV value is depends on the encryption function. The B bits are going to be chosen based on the encryption function only. So here, suppose I may use DES function. How many bits are there here? 64 bits are there. So my IV length is going to be 64 bits. Suppose I may use here AES, then my IV bits are going to be equal to 128 bits. 120 bits. So first of all, what we need to do? We are using a block cipher. The key K is common to everywhere, common here. This is the key K we are using here. Key K. Right. First, you encrypt these IV bits. So why? Because insecurity is there in IV, so that we are encrypting this IV. Then how many bits we will receive here? Again, B bits are there. Out of B bits, you need to be select S bits. So that S bits you need to be XOR with your first message block bits message block, and this message block contains the same S bits only. So these S bits and these S bits are going to be XORed. The resultant is going to be your cipher block, and these S bits are going to be shifted here. Use your shift register, and the leftmost bits are going to be your S bits. That means S1, the C1 bits, and you shift remaining B minus S bits. The finally you're going to be select the S bits and so on. So now in the equation, how you are supposed to be write in the form of equations. Cipher feedback mode. If you want to write, how you are going to be write in the equations. So some of you are writing previously. If anybody can write the equations over here. Cipher feedback mode. How we will generate a C1 CFB encryption. Some of you are writing the same way you may write here equation for a CFB. Check it out here and write it down, all of you. How to write equation for this one, please? Anybody can write now? Some of you are writing the same way. So what are the requirement for us? First of all, what we need to be choose? We need to be choose IV. We need to choose IV. And what we need to be perform here? We may choose IV. What we need to perform? We need to be find. We need to be select that IV has how many bits? B bits, and here you need to be encrypt this IV with help of key K. So the resultant value is going to be contain how many bits? B bits. This is going to be your resultant encrypted value. So what bits I need to be select from this? So I need to be select the bits least significant bits or most significant bits. So here I need to be used like this, okay? Which one I need to be used? Suppose my bits are like this. So this side S bits I need to be select, and my M1 block contain how many bits? S bits. So I need to be perform here XOR operation. So this is my C1. So we supposed to be write this one only. How I will write this one? So we supposed to be write encryption K here IV IV. So how many bits we need to be selected out of B bits? We need to be select S bits. We need to be select S bits only out of these. So I may divide this whole into two parts, my S bits and my B minus S bits. B minus S bits. So this particular portion, whatever I selected, that is going to be encrypted with my M1. Thus this is going to be my C1. So here what I was chosen here, my most significant bits of S of B. This I need to be supposed to be used to for this encryption. So while I am going to be perform decryption also, so I am not changing here. You need to be observed very clearly. I am not changing. Here I might go here while I am going to perform decryption. Up to this is common. Up to this is common. Where the change will come up? Where the change will come up? This CI is going to become here as the input, and this is going to be the output. I'm not changing anything. You just very carefully observe. I have IV bits. I'm encrypting. I'm selecting. Again I will get output as S bits. Sorry, B bits. Out of which I am selecting S bits. This is a common procedure for all in the encryption and decryption. You need not to perform decryption operation in this particular CFD mode. Only you need to be perform encryption operation only. So that's why if you want to convert from block cipher to stream cipher, generally we will use CFB, OFB, and CTR modes of operations. Okay, clear? So here, in the decryption and encryption is going to be performed here only. That too based on the XOR function only. That means decryption and encryption, why I am stating converting from plain text to ciphertext to plain text. This perspective only. So any questions are there? Please let me know on CFB. Why? Because CFB has some problems. So again with IV. That are going to be resolved in the OFB, output feedback mode. If you have questions, I am going to be explain again. Otherwise, I will move to OFB. So simple here, just that means here M1 bits here and the C1 bits here, the selected bits. So the same. That means here up to till this place there is no change in the mechanism, right? So if you don't have any questions, I will move ahead to discuss about the output feedback mode. In the output feedback mode, instead of IV, you choose the nonce value. There is a clear difference is there between the nonce and IV value. Nonce value is not going to be repeated, and it shows the freshness of that number actually. That's why every time you have to be using a different random value. Remaining process is almost the same, but okay, instead of okay cipher values, you just use why, because okay, everybody knows okay. Suppose okay, you have a block cipher, I have a block cipher 64 bits. Your MSB bits are going to be out of the 64 bits only. How many? That means okay. How many okay blocks? That means the first time I may use okay some S bits, S1 bits, S2 bits, and so on. Somewhere it is going to be mapped out. Only 64 okay XOR operation I need to perform. That is the major drawback in okay CFB mode. Instead of that, directly whatever the output you will get over here, encryption function, that you need to be used as your input your XOR function. The probability is going to be high to guess. That's why adversaries are going to be okay are unable to succeed in this output feedback mode. But here also the problem is there. What is the problem? The feedback mode. So that's why finally people are gone for this particular okay method, which is more efficient compared to other methods. That is the counter mode of operation. You have to design a counter. The counter is going to be maintain the values like this. That might be a random counter, which results very, very good compared to other methods. So in the encryption, just you need to be okay, perform like your output feedback mode. Only the change is here only. The previous in output feedback mode, encryption, that means after encryption, whatever output is there, that output we are using as a feedback to the next blocks. But here that is not there. Every time a new counter value comes here, that counter value is supposed to be used to encrypt it with help of your key. So that and it is very easy and it's more efficient compared to all other methods. So how we need to be checked, okay, how we need to be verify the efficiency of all these protocols are like this. So just to observe, the characteristics are going to be defined based on the CPA attacks or CCA attacks. I told you CPA means chosen plain text attack. CCA means chosen ciphertext attack. So all these CBC, CFB, OFB methods you may observe. Okay, some of them are going to be compromised. So all these are not okay support to parallelizable. Only CTR mode is going to be support for parallelizable. So these are okay. Only CFB is a self-synchronizable. Remaining two are not self-synchronized. The pre-processing is going to be only OFB supports that and so on. So this AES XTS will discuss after AES function. We are going to be performed. Okay. If any questions are there, I will go ahead. Otherwise, okay, I will start my AES algorithm. So I'm starting my AES algorithm. This is most important algorithm for you. And try to understand. Here only some mathematical equations are going to be involved. Okay. So first of all, clearly observe NIST. Any security methods are standardized. These standardization based on the advanced, that means like NIST only. Generally, they will use for their military purpose most of the algorithms. Once they feel these are not much secure, then they will release to commercial purpose. The same way, in 1998, we discussed DES was cracked by that EFF organization. And that's why they gone for to design a new cipher mechanism, new symmetric cipher mechanism. They have some guidelines. They kept it. One of the guidelines is going to be we have to replace DES in time, and which is going to be very complex compared to RSA algorithm. These two are the major objectives to design AES algorithm. Then short length of key is the main problem. We discussed the strength of DES algorithm. What are the strengths? Key is the strength. In 1977, the key is the 64-bit key is wonderful, but not now. They felt. That's why the first one is going to be the length of the key is the major problem. Second thing, static S-box values. Static S-box values. But it's a strength as well as that is a weakness also for that algorithm. And the computational power. It takes more time to compute. That means it takes more time to compute. So that's why the speed is also one of the major problems. Finally, 64-bit is not sufficient. That's why they plan to move to 128 bits. They plan to move to 128. So the block cipher size is going to be moved from 64-bit to 128 bits, and the length of the key is also going to be moved from 56 bits to some more bits. They said this is the only, and a few more postulates they kept it in their mind. What are they? DES, if your complete architecture you may observe, we have a round function, we have an initial permutation, we have a round function, we have inverse initial permutation. While you are performing inverse initial permutation, round function, and initial permutation, you are performing you are reversing the method. Whatever you are performing, just you are reversing the whole thing. That is also a drawback in the algorithm. They found. That's why they asked to design a new algorithm. That algorithm is going to be AES. The name is going to be data encryption algorithm. Or actually, the name is going to be advanced encryption standard. That NIST called this as data encryption algorithm. Totally, they received 15 algorithms were submitted to NIST by the time. Out of which they shortlisted 5 algorithms for the second round. In 2001, they accepted Rinzel cipher, and that algorithm they modified as AES algorithm. Keep it in mind. So advances in computing power, DES key is very short. We discussed about that, and the second one, there is no mathematical involvement in the DES design. So now AES cipher takes a plain text block size of 128 bits or 16 bytes only. So plain text block size is going to 128 bits, or you may treat that as a 16 bytes. That's both are same. And the key lengths can be 16 byte, 24 byte, or 32 byte. The 3 variants are they proposed. That's why key length is defined by AES version. AES 128, AES 192, and AES 256 byte. The AES 128 cipher published in FIPS PUB 197 publication. Just if you want to go more information, you can. Finally, whatever your operations you perform, that operations are going to be performed on a state array only. We call that as a state array. State array is going to be a 4x4 byte matrix. 4x4 byte matrix. So that means we are performing all operations on the byte only. That byte operations we are represent in the form of hexadecimal only. In the form of hexadecimal only. Suppose you may come to that whiteboard, right? In that whiteboard, how state array is going to be there? This is a state array. You 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 3, and 4. So here a byte value is there. Here 1 byte value is there. Here 1 byte value is there. Here 1 byte value. So this is going to be represented in the form of hexadecimal only. That means A, F. That means this is a byte value. The total operations are based on this particular hexadecimal values only. Clear? This is a 4x4 byte matrix. This we call it as a state array. what we call state array. That means here also we have round functions, but round function is going to be subdivided into 4 different subfunctions. That subfunction, each subfunction is required as a state array as input, and it produces output as a state array again. That state array is going to be input to the next subfunction. Again, that subfunction is going to produce another state array. So what I mean to say to you, total operations are going to be performed based on the state array only. Means 4x4 byte array means how many bits are there? 128 bits. The same 128 bit input you may provide. After all the rounds, the AES algorithm produces 128 bit only to you. Are you clear? So that's why here, we are using a state array word. So you keep it in mind, state array word. So there are mainly we can discuss AES algorithm. In the AES algorithm, we have first same initial permutation kind of activity is there. Then after you have substitute byte operation. That means that comes under your round function. I will show you that. Please check it, that one. Just a minute. There are major operations are going to be I can write here an algorithm. Just you observe the algorithm, how we need to be supposed to be write an algorithm. So here you have a message and you have a key. The key length is going to be 128 bit. That key you need to be parsed to 48 words. How many words? 48 words. So then from each 4 words are going to be treated as a key for your subfunction. That we call this the add round key operation. That's why the majorly we have 4 subfunctions. One is going to be substitute bytes, sub bytes. I'm writing sub means substitute bytes. First operation this is. In every DES function is every DES round function is going to maintain this one, substitute bytes. The second one is going to be shift rows. Shift rows. Third one is going to be mix columns. Mix calls. Fourth one is going to be add round key. Add round key. So these are the 4 functions are there in each and every round. And total rounds for a 128 bit key, 10 rounds. Out of which 9 rounds are going to be similar and 10th round is different. Are you understanding what I'm saying? How many subfunctions are there? 4 subfunctions are there. Each round function consists of these 4 subfunctions. And for 120, so this is the number of rounds depends on the number of keys, the key length, based on the key length only. 128 bit we are talking in our discussion. In the 128 bit key, we have 10 rounds. Out of these 10 rounds, 9 rounds are similar and 10th round is different. Suppose I want to write AES function. How I'm going to be write AES function? So this is my AES function. Suppose I need to be write. So I write AES. This AES is required. What is required? You have a message and a key K. A key K. So the key you need to be parsed to 11 keys, K1, K2 and so on, K0 to K10. I can say K0 to K10. You have to use like this. Initially, you need to be whatever message you have, that message you need to be XOR with K0. Then after you need to be call your for loop. You have a for loop, suppose I equal to 1 to. So this is I'm writing, this is going to be my state array. So now, okay, this message and these two are going to be, I need to be write it in the form of state array S. So why? Because all operations are going to be performed based on the state array only. 1 to 10. If I then here I need to be supposed to be right. Okay, my sub function is going to be like this. The first, okay, the for loop is going to be first, okay, is going to be substitute byte. This is my state array. This is my state array, and this is my substitute byte. Input is going to be the state array again. Next, okay, my next one is going to be my state array again is the output, and shift rows are going to be the next function, and input is going to be state array. The output of the substitute byte, whatever state array is going to be there, that state array is going to be input to this, okay, shift rows operation. Again here you need to write a small, okay, if clause. If I value is less than or equal to 9, that means whatever the next function is there, that next function is going to be mixed columns. We will use up to 9 rounds only, not to the 10th round. In the 10th round, okay, the final value is going to be state array, that is going to be S is going to be, again, S is XOR with Ki. S or XOR with Ki. Here K0 is over, next K1, K2 and so on up to K10. So this is the general function for this particular AES algorithm. Simple AES algorithm. While you are going to be, okay, perform decryption operation, these are going to be just you need to be reverse the sub functions instead of reversing the whole algorithm. Instead of reversing the whole algorithm, just you reverse all the sub functions so that you will get back your plain text back. This is the beauty of this particular AES algorithm. This is the beauty of this AES algorithm. Okay? So I will continue this AES algorithm in the tomorrow class, and I will give, okay, more information about this, and we will discuss all these, okay, sub functions very in detail. Right? Keep it in mind today what we discussed. We have mode of operation CFB, YFB, and CTR we discussed. One more AES, XTS is there, that we will discuss after this AES algorithm. Now we started AES algorithm. Why AES algorithm is required to discuss? This is the advanced, okay, encryption algorithm, and this is a replacement of DES algorithm. The replacement was happened in 2001. Till today also we are using AES algorithm. No one is not cracked this AES algorithm. Only the problem is with this AES algorithm is going to be timing attacks. And okay, people are, okay, writing an optimized AES bytecode. Based on optimized AES bytecode, they are cracking this. They are trying to crack this AES algorithm. But okay, even though that is not much, okay, that is impractical. Theoretically they are proven, but practically that is very impractical till today. Right? So this one I'm just, okay, sharing my assignment. I will give 5 minutes time to you to your assignment and finish that and go and join for your next class. Thank you. Any questions are there? Please let me know. If you don't have a question, please say no, so that, okay, I will come to know. Thank you. I will explain all sub functionalities tomorrow, very in detail. So you just, okay, attempt my quiz. That's enough. Thank you.